So, card frame. It's dog water. It's bad. It's not good. It's really cheeks, okay? The card frame. It's rough. It's kind of hard to judge on the full art. I mean, we can there's some stuff to judge on the full arts. Believe me. The dots are horrible. That's so lame. I liked how they had the gem set up, and I liked how it formed like the ring. It was a little more. It was more visually pleasing than just some dots in a line. Like you'll note the common thread between all of my critiques is that they've sucked all the life out of the design and made it really boring and bland and generic and stuff. It's like although those minimalist rebrands all the companies have been doing, it's just that and it looks horrendous and I hate it. It's so boring. I was surprised they chose to keep the cost symbol because they've sucked the life out of everything else, but I guess I'll take it, right? Like I'll take what I can get. So that looks fine. Like, so part of me is hoping that these are really like them rushing to get out mock-ups of the cards because they needed promo material, but at the same time, that disclaimer only says the card text is temporary, not the art and assets, which makes me pretty confident that these are the final designs, and they look really bad. So yeah, they kept that, which is like cute and surprising, I guess. But boy oh boy did they just kill the rest of the I don't want to move that. Boy oh boy, they just kill the rest of the design. Like, you look at JP Battle Spirits and you're like, it's not even like very Japanese card game design. It just has a butt ton of style and looks awesome. And they know exactly what they're doing and they rock it. Even if it looks really goofy at first, you just kind of get used to it. And you're like, wow, this is actually pretty cool. I applaud them for what they did. I understand it's not to everyone's taste, but it's a hell of a lot better than what they're doing here. Like, this is just boring. And something about the way they changed the colors of the level, too, I don't like it. I don't like that it goes blue, yellow, green. Like, in actual Battle Spirits, it goes blue, orange, and then... what even is the third one? Do I have a level 3 in here? It's blue, orange, and then this, like, brownish color, which I'm very used to. This probably isn't going to focus, like, at all. I'm very used to this color scheme. Yeah, there we go. This blue into, like, this orange, and it's brown, right? That's, like, what we're all used to. And this is another instance of them just changing things just to change them. Like, it feels like when they were designing these cards, they were given the instruction, alienate the JP player base as much as possible, right? Make these cards feel as unfamiliar as you can. And I don't like that. It looks lame. It looks bad. It looks lazy. I like the font they used for the level. It gives me, like, Final Fantasy, but, like, these level things give me very big, like, Final Fantasy vibes. And the way that they're set up and formatted. I'm also really hoping, also the fact that it says text is subject to the change is good because the 1 here is off-center. And the level 1, the 1 core cost, I can try to click this, hopefully it won't just crash the stream immediately. Okay, we're good. This 1 here is off-center. So, hopefully that gets fixed, so that bothers me. There's a couple things in the text of the card, too, that's off-center. And is a little misaligned, but that's neither here nor there. Also, oh wait, I didn't even really notice this. Something else about, luckily again, the text is subject to change. This card here has the white border around the text, which is how you need to do full art cards, because then it makes the text pop and you can actually read it. It separates the text from the background. Because if you don't do that, what happens is you get a card, like the card literally right next to it, that has none of the white, and you can't even read the second effect. I think it's actually blurred here and here, so you can't read it. But even where it's not blurred, it's really tricky to... It's a pain to read. Because you have to read this black text over, like, multiple colors, and it's a pain for your eyes. It's not a good experience. So, yeah, that off the bat is really bad and not good. They did that. But I think the levels look goofy. The level is definitely the least of my complaints, for sure. definitely at the back of the complaints, but it's still a complaint where I'd still change that, 'cause I think it looks a little doofy. I really like how they had just the boxes, and how it was contained in this little square, having it as this line. I don't know. I just don't. This is one where it's more personal taste, and I just don't like it, versus others where they're just actually objectively bad designs. Speaking of objectively actually bad designs, let me go back to where there's a more fuller image of this card that we can zoom in on. There it is. Not the whole background. I want the YouTube thing to zoom in with, please. Thank you very much. Please and thank. Let's look at not a full art card, because it's really hard to judge a frame on a full art that doesn't have a frame, right? That, that makes sense. You can't judge a card frame by a card that doesn't have a card frame. So let's take a look at a card with a card frame. May I present this guy? I've seen this card before. I forget its name. I think it's a really old card, but that's neither here nor there, because this game has both old and new cards. Let's get a little more of a zoom. A little less of a zoom, sorry. Let's get the whole card in here. Alright. Just right off the bat, something I'm now even noticing is, so my biggest complaint was that it took the old JP card frame, which had so much style, and it had just this flair to it. It looked. I think it's the most timeless. I'll go to the big cam. I think this is one of the most timeless card frames I've ever seen, because when you look at it with old Battle Spirit cards, it looks so dated and so old. But when you look at it with new cards, it holds up very well. I really love this card frame. I think it looks really good. It has a lot of style. Not a lot of other frames look like this. It's super unique. And I really appreciated what they did. And if you put the wrong art on it, it can look pretty old and dated and early 2000s goofy. But when you put it on a card like this with this new art, I think it blends in almost seamlessly. It looks awesome doing it, right? I think it looks fantastic. And I really fell in love with the card frame playing Battle Spirits. Also, the fact that the card frame is different for the different types of cards. So while you have, let me also grab the Nexus. So while you have this frame for the Spirit, the magic or the spells have a completely different frame, where it's these nice, you got this little line over here and the little flare over here. It doesn't have the big white bounding things, and also a different symbol in the cost is nice. And then you have the Nexus, which I admit being the wackest of all of them, but I kind of get what they're going for, where it has this very hard, almost brick-like texture to it, because all of the Nexuses are meant to be locations or buildings or things with foundation. They're meant to feel solidly placed on the field, right? They're meant to have this brick-like rigidness to them, right? So I'm I get that. I see I feel like that is what they were going for. And it made a lot of sense, and it was working for me. I had to get used to it for sure, but it worked for me. I'm not getting used to this. This looks bad. This looks like a trading card I should get when I buy an action figure. I should buy, if I were to buy an action, a Gunpla action figure, I can clearly picture myself ripping this out of the back of the plastic shell box, right? Just pulling it out, and it's gonna come out all bent, and it's gonna feel like a playing card, right? I look at this, and I can't imagine this feeling any thicker than a playing card. It looks so bland, so corporate America-ified. It's if you've seen the new minimalist logo trend, where companies are just sucking all the life out of their logos. This is what that looks like. It looks like this. They've taken the cool frame, the pretty, the elegant, beautiful style border. It had so much style in the border, and they've replaced it with a gradient. They just put a bar at the top of the card, put a gradient on it, and said cool. frame. This is the stuff I do in Google Drawings. Like, literally, this is the type of thing I do in Google Drawings because I don't know how to do anything better. And it's the closest to, like, somewhat quality I can get than putting a flat color on it, you know what I mean? It's like Google Drawings, dude, you get a flat color or a gradient, that's it, right? So you're like, I'm gonna pick the gradient because it just looks better. But this is like an actual game. A company made that. You paid people to take your super cool, stylized border and turn it into a gradient. And you just gotta say, you're like, really? That's what you landed on? Like, someone handed you a JP Battle Spirits card, and you went, nah, I can make this better, and then gave someone this, and they said, yeah, this is good. What? I'm so, like, I need to ask someone at Bandai about this. I need to talk to someone about, like, how did this happen? Who greenlit this? Who said this was okay? Who was like, this is fine? I need to know, because this just looks so bad. This also gives me the vibes of, this one's gonna be weird. This isn't even like a hot take. This is a take that to a lot of people isn't gonna make a lick of sense. And you know what? That's okay. I don't care, because I'm gonna try to explain it right now. And if it doesn't make sense to you, that is okay. Nothing I can really do about it. That's just how it be. These cards feel like they waste a lot of real estate. There is a lot of wasted space on these cards. Like, let's see, can I do this with, okay, there we go. Just to get my mouse back over here. My mouse is huge now. You look at these cards, and there's so much just empty space on here, right? That is just not being utilized. Now, I know what the immediate counterpoint is. Let's see if I have a card that illustrates this. Unfortunately, on hand, I only have BS60 cards, which are chock full of text. So I'll find the smallest one I can, but there's no promise but it's not going to be as small as I like. It's not going to be as small as this. There are definitely cards in Battle Spirits that have text as small as this. I just don't have any on hand because of that. I guess I could go look up one, but my camera's already so, like, resized. I'm just going to really quickly dig through purple and see if there's anything close to being this small. So I really do want to highlight this point of why I feel like the text on these cards feels wasted, whereas in Battle Spirits, the empty text doesn't feel wasted at all. No, there isn't really a good way to show it. Okay. We're just gonna have to use our imaginations. So let me I'll start with the Battle Spirits card, right? When you look at a Battle Spirits card, right, there's also a lot of text, right? If this text wasn't here, you know what I mean? Let's say this was only one ability. There's a lot of empty text box down here, right? There's a whole, let's say, and it only is only level 1. Let's say it only had a level 1 ability too, right? Let's make it as little text box as we can, right? You take all that away, and there's a whole bunch of empty space. And most people would be like, look at all this wasted space, doesn't it look bad? And I'd look at them, and I'd say no. I'd say it looks fine. Because on a Battle Spirits card, every piece of information is very distinctly relegated to its own box, and its own space. And this is a lot in the same vein as how Yu-Gi-Oh! Does their cards. If you look at a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card, there is a clear box for every piece of information, right? There's the art box, there's the effect box, there's the little box in the bottom with the attack and defense, you know, there's a type, right? Everything has its own box and its own space. And a big part of that, having this red border all the way around the card seals in all the information, right? The cost is defined to this circle, right? There's the effect box where everything's contained. even the level thing is very much like in its own little square box, where it's like the box with the level thing, with the core attached to it, and then under it the power. And it makes for this nice little square, you know, there's the name bar. And the art being, with the art being completely enclosed in this box, it feels like all the space is being, it feels like there's no wasted space, because there's nothing to go there, right? If I were to take this frame, right, and if I were to delete it, let's say I was to delete the art. If I just deleted the art, there would just be a big black box here, right? And everything would stay. If I was to delete the text box, I feel like there'd just be a void, right? There'd just be a big black box here. There'd just be a void, right? Nothing, there'd be nothing here, because there's nothing to be there, right? Maybe this symbol would still be on top of that void, right? Maybe these numbers would be on top of that void. But there's nothing that this void is taking up. There's nothing this void is occupying or covering up, right? If you take a Yu-Gi-Oh card, right, you delete the art, you just have that little black void in the middle of the box, right? You delete the effect, same thing, right? If I were to delete any of this, right, if I was to delete this symbol, it would just go away. If we take it back to the new design, I feel like if I were to delete this text box, right, if I were just to get this text box out, I would see the rest of this card's art. I would see his legs. I think I would see his legs. And I think there's two reasons for that. The first reason is a lack of a border around the entire card. It sounds stupid. The lack of a, I guess I should be in this. Yeah. If I were to delete this text box, I'd see his legs come down here, right? I'd see it extend through. It's the lack of this side border. The lack of a border on the side makes me... It makes this card not feel enclosed. The art is not enclosed into the card, right? So I think the best way to describe this is when you're designing a trading card, there's two ways to go about art, right? You can either make your cards art first or frame first, right? So there are card games where it feels like they made the card frame and then they placed the art into that frame. So examples of that would be like Yu-Gi-Oh! or Battle Spirits, right? In Battle Spirits, it's like the card came first and they gave it this box for the art, to which then the art is placed into that box, right? To me, that's what I see. What I see is they designed the frame and they took the art and they just put it in that box, right? And they put it in there, right? When you look at games like Battle Spirits, Future Card Buddy Fight, Card Fight Vanguard, all games like that, it feels like they started with the card's art. They started with just the full art of the card, and they built the box on top of it. Now, neither of these designs is a bad thing. In fact, I love how Vanguard does it. I think Vanguard cards are some of, if not my favorite looking cards of all time. In fact, I actually should have some in here, because I didn't have enough Battle Spirits cards to use as proxies. Really, so some cards in here should be Vanguard cards, and I think this is one of them. Yes, it is. I use Japanese Vanguard cards because they're thicker. So Vanguard cards, for those of you that are unaware of how these look, are very much designed with the art first. They started with this art of the dragon, right? And then they put the level up here, they put the shield up here, they put the name, and they put this whole box on top of it. You can see how the art... come on, can you focus for me here? Forget me. Just get the card. You can see how the art bleeds down here into the text box. They clearly put the text box on top of the art. This is an art first card, right? This is an art first card, and this is a frame first card, right? So here, the way Vanguard gets around the feeling of wasted space is they'll actually shrink down their text boxes. Their text boxes are not, text boxes are not uniform. They are shrunken to fit exactly the text. So some cards, the text box goes up to here because this is all text. Some cards don't even have a text box, so they don't have an effect. They just delete it and make it a floor, right? So that's one way to get around wasted space, because there's no space to be wasted. There is no space. You know, it's been deleted, right? There's no extra space. It's been shrunken down. Can Battle Spirits do this? No, they can't. Because, well, they can to an extent. I don't think they should. I think there's a better way to do it. But they could they could just enclose the box to fit the whole text, nothing but the text, right? That's one way to do it. I don't think that's the way they should do it, but it is a solution and make the card look better. Another thing I really love that Vanguard does with its text box specifically is it makes it semi-transparent. And I think that just adds to making it blend in with the card a hell of a lot more. This is weird because my light is right next to my camera, so it's hard to get it to focus without glaring up. I need to cover my face so it'll zoom in. I think that really makes it blend in with the card a lot better. And helps a lot, and doesn't make it feel like there's this big black, big plate of nothing stapled on top of the card that's covering up everything, right? This doesn't feel like it's hiding art. It feels like it's I don't know how to describe it. It's not covering up anything, really. It's just being a nice place of providing information, I guess is how I would say it. That's a hard one to articulate, but I hope my point got across. Of this is how you do an art first card design. Now, if we look at Battle Spirits here, you'll notice a couple problems. You know, all of the effect box is standard, is like a standardly sized. That's all the same throughout all of the cards. You know, like in JP Battle Spirits, which I hate that that's the one thing they decided to keep. But it feels like so much more space is being wasted with this kind of design. Oh, it froze again. There we go. With this kind of design, because not only is it not it looks, there's not only is the art self-contained to its own box, it looks like the art came first and was then covered up by this. So it feels like I'm missing out on something, right? If I delete this, I'd see the rest of the card, right? It feels like I'm missing out on something. Where in a JP card, it doesn't feel like that because all the art is designed to be contained to that box. And if you were to expand that box, there'd be nothing there, right? So that's the first issue. Another thing is that the level is so awkwardly placed. It's in the middle of the box, which means that it's in the middle of the box, but the text starts at the top, which means there is always going to be this chunk of empty space that can't be utilized because there's nothing to put there. And it's ridiculous. You know, and this design looks fine when the card is just a wall of text. It looks good. But when you get cards like these that don't have a lot of text, this looks goofy, right? This looks like this. If you wanted to design a card that left as this looks like a wrong example in a graphic design class. Like if I was in a graphic design class and they were teaching about how to utilize space that you have, this feels like an example they would put on the screen as what not to do. This feels like the best way to waste space. If you put the text in your top middle and then this in the middle of the card, you have put information in a order, in a way that just forces you to have this weird open space. Because by putting this in the middle, we now not only need to leave space for potentially level 2 and 3, right? Because we're trying to be uniform with every card, right? And how we place it. Now, you always need to leave space for 2 and 3, so your 1 is going to look stupid because it's just in the middle right here. And you can't put anything above it either. There's nothing to go up here because your text always needs to be formatted to the right so it can sit next to the level. So now you're forced to have this open space here, because if this ever moves down, it needs to be this far away so it doesn't impact this. And now your level is stuck in the middle here because you need space on down here for 2 and 3 because it goes 1, 2, and 3. If it were backwards, which is also stupid, and went 1, 2, and 3 and counted up, it's dumb. But at least your level 1 wouldn't look stupid because it'd be down here in the corner and self-contained to its own area, right? It'd look a lot less stupid. Putting it in the middle is like you picked the worst out of the 3 options. Like you couldn't. The only way you could have made this worse is if you like took the level and stuck it like on top of the text, like something like completely boneheaded, right? This is like the most passably dumb decision, right? This is you passed the class, but with a D. Like, yeah, I can read this and I can get all the information I need off of it, but you did it in the worst looking way you could have, right? Like, this is the most 60% layout. It's so bad. It's so bad. I can't believe the cards actually look like this. I'm kind of blown away. Making this strip for so actual Battle Spirits cards, while it looks a little cluttered, the family is, what am I doing? It's the camera being like reversed makes this really hard. The family is contained in this little this little black box here, and it's really wedged in there sometimes with like things with 3 families. This one has 2. It's Flame Contract and Scarlet Flame. It's really wedged in there, but it's like semi-nicely self-contained, and I don't mind it. Especially because the information next to it is also like very relevant in the same vein of it being the name and the type of card. So it all, like, all of the information here is very similar to each other in that it's the going from what your guys is left to right. It's the card type, which is Spirit, right? The card, it's focusing on my face. That's what's happening here. Come on, buddy. The type of card, it was Contract Spirit, right? The card's name, Partner Dragon Glow in the middle, makes sense. And then the card's, typing, right? That's just kind of how we've conventionally done things like this in card games forever, right? It makes sense. You know what I mean? It just makes sense. So there, it looks fine. We come to Saga, and they were like, well, we're gonna move the name to the top, right? So now we have the Spirit over. So now we have the Spirit over here where it normally is, right? I minimized it. We have the Spirit over here where it normally is, and we have the typing over here, but now there's this empty space in the middle, and they're like, what do we do with that? Let's just take all the typings and just stretch them across the card. Which is like, it's a solution, it fills space. Like, this is the opposite. Where this is how to leave space in the worst way, this is how to, like, maximize space in the worst way. Like, we didn't need to do this. We didn't need to take up a whole stretch of the card with its typing, with its attribute, or like its in Battle Spirit term, its families. This didn't need to happen. We didn't need to take up the whole middle section of the card with the family. Like, yeah, it's gonna come up because archetypes exist, but it's not. I don't think it's relevant enough for it to need to take up the whole middle of the card, right? Like, it's such secondary information. Where, like, this is, like primary information being, like, its stats, abilities, and name. And a cost. Like, secondary information is, like, it's, I guess while a card's on the field, right? While a card's on the field, primary information is its effect, its power, right? And maybe its name, right? Secondary information is things like its typing, cost, which is only relevant sometimes, and like tertiary information, like things like it's a spirit, right? Things that are just like you can obviously identify by other means, but this is a nice way to also have, you know what I mean? It's like tertiary information. Stretching all this across the card just seems, I don't know. It just doesn't, I just don't like it. I can't really articulate why I don't like it. I just don't. And I think it looks kind of stupid. Especially when it has this like super, this like shiny gold border that just screams, hey, look here, there's important information, and you're reading and it's just like armored machine, like paladin, I don't know, mecha, you know what I mean? Like all these like words. I'm just like, okay. And to a new player too, like that's not gonna make a lot of sense when it just says like armored machine, mobile weapon, paladin. They're like, what is that? You know, like what does that mean? What, you know what I mean? That one's not even like here you can be like, oh, I got its name. This is the cost. It's pretty common. I've cost up here, like what it does. You know what I mean? And yeah, you can infer that it's the family, but I don't know. It just feels so prominent. I'm just very confused as to why, like, it's almost as big. It's almost as prominent as the effect text and like the name. It's on like the same level. I just don't really like that. What else? What other problems? I feel like I've said a lot. Upon like really looking at this card, I think this might be the OG frame. I think this gray border is the OG frame. And if that's the case, that honestly almost pisses me off more. Because it's like... It's again, like, they're using the frame in, like, the worst way possible. Like, yeah, it's there, but it's like, why? At this point, why is it even, like, you know what I mean? They've already done so much. You've changed this bar to just be a gradient, right? You've moved this, you've cut off this part of the frame. You've changed the top of the card so drastically. Why does the bottom even have the frame like, why is it makes me wonder, like, why is it even here? If you're gonna change this so much, don't even use the old frame, because it doesn't even mesh well. Now it looks weird. Because now you have this. Now you're gonna have the super stylized frame at the bottom, with the generic boring frame at the top, and now your cards are just gonna look. They're not even. Your cards aren't even gonna look unified. It's gonna be this weird mishmash of designs, and it's gonna look so goofy, right? Like I'm looking at I'm looking at this, and it's like here's a super sleek minimal with the cost reduction, right, and the bar. Like here's a super like minimalistic like. Sleek but boring, you know, design. But then you get this like super highly detailed like cost thing and like the Final Fantasy-esque like Roman numeral levels with this like gem, and it's, you know, it's like what is going on here? Like what is this design? It's so goofy, and it looks pretty ridiculous in my opinion. Like it's not good. It's really not good. Oh, here's another thing. I just noticed this. So I was talking about how you have to leave this open for level 2s and 3s. I don't even think they're going to do that, because if we slide over here to a card in the background here, we can see that it's a level 1 and a level 2, but where the level 3 would be is covered up by this flavor text. So what happens with a card with 3? Does this move up? In that case, I don't like that, because you've established that with the other card, or is there you've established with a level 1 that this is staying here, right? This isn't going anywhere. We've committed to the level 1 being in the middle. And we go to a card with level 2, and we continue with that theme of we're not moving the 1, we're just going to drop down to the 2. Fantastic. But now if we go to the 3, where's the 3 going to be? This is just, there's flavor text here. We can't put a 3 there, right? Unless all level 3s just have no flavor text? Or what do we just indent it past the 3? Now the 3 is invading the flavor text area. Because of the 1, not because of like the design. It's not because of the way the card's designed. It's because of a limitation we've opposed on ourselves earlier. Which is already a bad limitation because it leaves all the space blank up at the top. Like it's so bad. How did this get through? There's so much of me wants to believe that it just isn't real. Cause like look at that, they can't fit another one here. There's so much space in between. So much of me just wants to believe that this just isn't real, and that this whole thing is, oh, I just noticed this. I was trying to figure out what this was at the bottom of the cards when I've zoomed in. It's just the color. You put the color. So in Battle Spirit, the color identity of the card is just built into the border, right? When they tell you like what color is the card, it's not the symbol here. It's not, or I should probably be in the screen. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Oh, I really goofed it up there. Let's go back. So, the color identity of the card isn't in the gem, because this is how much damage it deals, and if you have a multicolor card, if you have 2 gems, it deals 2 damage, blah, 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 you know what I mean? So, what they did for, like, the color identity, if you want to know that, you just look at the border. Whatever color the border was, that's what it was. And if you had a card that was all colors, the border would just be rainbow, you know what I mean? And it worked great. It was totally fine, super intuitive. But now they've not only do they still have the border, is still there in the bar at the top, which now makes me think multicolored cards aren't even gonna be like multicolored in the border. Which, that can't be right. No, they have to do that. They can't. There's no way they don't do that. Multicolor in Battle Spirits is weird, because a lot of cards can have multicolored aspects, like multicolor reduction, multicolor symbols, but not actually be multicolored. What makes them multicolored is the border. But now that we've just reduced that to just the little box at the bottom, which isn't even formatted, isn't even placed right, it's stuck to the bottom, which looks so stupid. It's not even is it just because the card's moving? I wonder if it's just the cards being animated and they didn't want to animate the text to like match up. Nope, that's just stuck there. That's what it looks like. It's stuck to the bottom, which looks so stupid. It's supposed to be in the middle of the box. Sample cards, but like I feel like it kind of has to be done. Someone's got to say it. You know what I mean? And if someone's got to say it, it might as well be me. But like that just looks bad, in my opinion. Like that, it's so lazy. We've reduced the color. I get it. Having somewhere on the card that says what color it is nice, but I just don't like that. It just being a box at the bottom just says white. Just, I don't know. It's just so goofy to me. It screams like 5th grader making his first card games. I feel like there's just better ways to go about telling somebody what your card is. Now, granted, people can argue like, well, Vanguard has the same thing, where what kind of card it is straight up just like a thing at the bottom of the card that tells you. But if you don't mind, let me pull out a card like that for you. That box that tells you like what, I guess, color. Also, Vanguard works differently in the sense they kind of have like 20 colors, right? But the box that tells you what color it is right here. It's down here. And it's what clan the card's from. All the clans belong to nations, and the nation is really the color, but it doesn't come out. Don't think about it like color. But the way they do it here is it's so nicely baked into the text box. It looks like it belongs. This wasn't just slapped on the card to be like, oh shoot, we need a way to tell them what card this is. It's baked into the box and the information, and it was clearly designed to house that information, right? Not only is this just a box slapped onto the card, but there are other ways to denote the box. There's other ways to denote the frame. On a Vanguard card, there isn't. There's no like color box, right? It's straight up just art. So they needed something to give you an idea of what color it is and what clan it's from, right? This wasn't like in Magic, it's just the color of the card, right? They can't do that in Vanguard because there is no color of the card. It's all art. In Battle Spirits, they can do that because the card's freaking surrounded in purple, right? It's like it's a purple card. What the color, you know what I mean? And if you're colorblind, it's a little awkward, right? But oh well. In that case, someone just tells you that is purple, and you just have to go, that is purple, right? You know what I mean? There's an easy way around that. But with here, it's like, why is this box even here if you have the border at the top that they can just look at and be like, yes, that is what white looks like. You know? And I guess it's for the cards like that purple card back there that had literally no border whatsoever, and is a card that there was no way to interpret the color at all, and you have to have it on that. I guess I can see that. If we go back to Purple Girl, her color is literally impossible to, I mean, I guess she has like the purple and the 8 here. And so that is something. Technically, it's impossible to tell if she's only purple or multiple colors. So having this down here, I guess, is fine. I guess this is the situation it comes up in. But it's really unfortunate that because of this situation, this has to be like that same identifier has to be placed on cards that look like this, where it just looks goofy here. Where at that point, I'd say, don't add this to justify your full art cards. Fix your full art cards so you don't have to add this, because this looks dumb. And the full art cards aren't even great. They're just straight up full arts. Which is, like, cool, but it gets boring after a while, right? Like, what's cool about the Battle Spirits full arts is that they're simultaneously full art and border breaking at the same time, which I think is so cool. If you look at a Battle Spirits full art, the art is full, right? The art extends past the box and it's just text on the art, right? Like a traditional full art. But not only does it maintain the border of the card, which still gives it that color identity, it also border breaks with the flame effects and some stuff, which makes it pop even more, right? Not only is it a full art, but it's also border breaking at the same time, which makes it pop and stand out. And it looks great. And I think this is a situation where having a border makes your full art look even better. Because you can have a full art and border break at the same time. And it looks sick. So, like, just having a full art is cool. The novelty's cool at the start, but they're showing us all these full arts, and you look at it and you're like, okay, yeah, it's just the whole art plastered on a card. You know what I mean? Like, a card like this, like, looks like it's gonna feel like quality. It looks like quality. This looks like quality. This looks like it's gonna feel like all of these ones look like they're gonna feel like playing cards. Like, I think, if anything, like, Battle Spirits Saga is unfortunately looking like a lesson in lazy card design. Like, they have gone about this in the most lackadaisical, just pass the class way possible. Does it work as a card? Yes. You know, technically, it works. I can read the card, I can tell what the card does, you know, I'm not lacking any information, I'm not missing any information on the card. It's all there. It's just done in the most effortless way possible. Like, it feels like there was no love put into these cards. And I know that sounds really harsh, and it's pretty mean to the people that did do this, but it really looks like there was a lack of effort on making these cards. You can't tell me you poured hours into these, right? Maybe on making the level things, maybe that I can believe, that this took time, right? You can't tell me with a straight face that you can't come to me seriously and tell me that this took time. Also, you have white text fading into a white gradient. People can't read this. That's so hard to read. You could barely read this. So, like, this card has the little highlights so you can read it, and this one doesn't. Like, why does this card look so crappier than this one? Like, I get it, it's placeholder text, but, like, come on, guys. Like, are you serious? Like, you can't just, I get it, it's placeholder text, but I want to hold, like, if I was working for Bandai, if I was the lead of this video, I would not feel good putting this out. Like, I'm straight up, I would not feel good about putting this video out there because this looks unfinished. It, like, this gives me the vibes of the head honchos at Bandai are breathing down the designers' necks of like, hey, we need a promo video to put out. And the designer's like, whoa, we're not done yet. These cards aren't done. And the executive's like, I don't care, put it out. We need the promo, right? And this is the way. And if that's the case, I feel really bad for the design team. I feel really bad for them because this sucks. It's tough. But if it's not the case, if the design team brought this video to, like, the producers and was like, hey, we're ready to put this out. We finished it. Like, we're done. Here you go. Here it is. We're good. If I was a producer and I saw this, I'd be like, no, you're not. You're not done. What is this? You know, this isn't finished. So, I don't want to, like, attack the design team if this was out of their hands and something they couldn't do. Like, I want to acknowledge that possibility. And I want to acknowledge that as a possibility, which is why I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not just attacking one group. I am acknowledging both situations as completely plausible. That's why, like, I'm not gonna go after anyone until I can get a straight answer about what happened here. Like, what was the reasoning for this? Um, I do just want to voice my complaints because I feel like they're complaints that should be voiced, and it's important as a trading card game community to. It's really important right off the bat we hold Saga to a high standard. I think that's super important.